हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम महत्प्रदान पुष्यकल्पणे सच्चिदानंद स्वरूपिणे नमो नारायणे हरिः। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचंद्राय वैसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पते नमः। कल्याणात्मगात्राय कांतार्थप्रदाय श्रीमद्वेंकटनाथाय श्रीनिवासाय ते नमः। यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्ण तत्र पार्थदनुद्रः तत्र विजय वीर श्री संपद शांति उग्रम वीरम महाविष्णुं ज्वलंतं सर्वमुखम् नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्योर्मृत्युं नमाम्यहम्। हिरण्यगर्भप्रदान प्राणप्रज्ञा ज्ञानानन्दस्वरूपिणे नमो नारायणे हरिः हरिः ओम। ओम श्री गुरु राघवेन्द्राय नमः। पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे सुधीन्द्रादिसम्भूतानां राघवेन्द्रकलान्वे नमो अत्यन्तदयाळवे अपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नप्रणश्यन्ति सिद्धिञ्चितमनोरथः। श्रीमत्सद्गुरुराघवेन्द्रैतिराट् कुर्याद्ध्रुवं मङ्गलं हरिः ओम्। ॐ घृताशिषे नमः। Om salutations to Sri Hari Narayana, to the Supreme Lord, the Paramatman, whose blessings are unfailing. The ultimate is the blessing of the Supreme Lord. Wherever His divine grace flows, wherever His divine vision is there is joy, there is prosperity, there is strength, there is all success. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Tatra Partha Dhanuddharaha Tatra Vijaya Virya Sri Sampada Shantihi. That is the blessings of Sri Hari Narayana. The Supreme Lord, once He blesses, there is no other power, there is no other obstruction, there is no misery, there is no sorrow, there is no darkness, there is no death, there is no suffering. It is all the light, it is all the nectar of bliss. It is the ultimate pure existence of joy and bliss. When there is no because, there is no second to that Supreme Sri Hari Narayana, to that. Sri Hari Narayana is called Tat. That is why there is Tat Padaya Namaha. There is no one to name the Supreme Lord. All the names are given by the devotees, indicating the power and the glory and the functioning aspect of the supreme divine power. Narayana, Shiva, Bhagavanta, Paramatma, Krishna, Rama, whatever name, in whatever language you call, it all indicates the one supreme Lord, the supreme exists, the power, the creator of the supreme existence. So in the Upanishads call the Supreme Lord, the supreme creative power, curative power of vital force and bliss and consciousness as that Tat. So Upanishads have not named the Supreme Lord, they have not given any name or form. So the Upanishads are the essence of the Vedas, and all the gods, devatas, they have emanated from the Supreme Lord Himself. So the Upanishads declare the Supreme Lord as Tat, Om Tat Sat, that is the truth, Om Tat Brahma, Om Tat Vayu, that is the Brahman, that is the vital force, Tadatma, that is the Supreme Soul, Self, Atma, that is the soul, Jiva. Om Tadatma, Om Tat Sarvam, Om that is all, Om that is this which has become all these. Only that in the unmanifest form has become all these in the manifest forms. Tat Sarvam, Tat Puror Namaha. That is what everybody, all the gods, all the human beings, all those who aspire for anything from the Supreme Lord, worship, pray to Him, Tat Puror Namaha. Om, that is Antasyaritu Bhuteshu Guhayam Vishumurtishu. The same Supreme Lord, having this universal form, Himself comes and stays in our body as the Jiva and travels from birth to death. Antasyaritu Bhutechu Guhayam Vishumurtishu. Some Yajnastvam, he is the Yajnadipati. Supreme Lord is the Yajnadipati. Yajnastvam, Rudrastvam, he is the Rudra. Vishnustvam, that is the Vishnu. Vishnustvam, Yajnastvam, Rudrastvam, Vishnustvam, Tvam, Rudrastvam, Tvam Tadapo. You are the essence of the water, essence, the energy of the air. Tvam Tadapo, Somrutam, you are the separatity in the water. Amrutam, Swas, Tadamrutam, Tat Puranamaha, all worship to that, the Supreme Lord, Ghrutaashishe namah. So the blessings of the Supreme Lord is eternal. The water becomes sweet, air becomes enjoyable, water becomes enjoyable, everything, the life, whole life, the wealth of the life flows unto Him. Because there is no second to the Supreme Lord. The will of the Supreme Self is supreme. Thy will shall be done. That is the Namah. So there is Namah. So whatever we do is only partial. Karanam, Karanam, Kartru. And Adhishtanam, Daivatra Panchamam. The will of the Supreme Lord, Mahamanas, is the ultimate deciding factor. We go to exam, we write it. We go to war and we fight it. The ultimate outcome is the will of the Supreme Lord, so as to establish the success of truth and righteousness. So that is His will is guided by supreme intelligence and lofty goal of bliss for all connected with the Supreme Divine. So it is the Supreme Lord who is guarding all His devotees. He is the one guarding the dharma, the righteousness. Whatever may appear, whatever illogical, whatever things meaningless appear to us that is happening, we may think and talk, all this is nonsense, all this, the evil powers are having an upper hand, they are going to destroy this world. It is all our figment of imagination. No time is required for the destruction of the evil. In one split second, the evil forces may fall down. It is all the Supreme Lord how the things move. Though it appeared in the Second World, though it appeared that Hitler is going to win the whole world, the manifestation of the evil and the wicked is going to succeed. The ultimate victory was the victory of the righteous and the truth. The evil vanquished, the evil bite the dust. So that is the will of the Supreme Lord. We don't have to have any anxiety, any fear that some evil forces is going to take over. Initially they may appear to win, the ultimate victory is of the truth and righteousness. The Supreme Lord rushes to the rescue of His devotees when they cry for Him. The stories of His concern for the devotees in Gajendra Moksha, the story of Prahlada, the story of Dhruva, and the experiences of every devotee are replete with such protections of the Supreme Lord. Ghrutaashishe namah, the Supreme Lord protects His devotees. So the simple trick is total surrender, total acceptance of reality and performing our duties as we think it is right, because the flow of thoughts emanate from our pure consciousness. Whatever we do without ego and without selfishness, that's all what we can do, and that is what is expected from us to do. Om Achalaya Namaha. Om salutations to the Supreme Lord who is immovable. So the blessings of the Supreme Lord is eternal. It will not be destroyed and it is always there. And the relationship of the Paramatma and the Jivatma, of the Supreme Self and the Self. The Paramatma who is having this universal form, and also the Jivatma having this human form, their relationship is eternal. It is never going to end, because the embodied soul is only a spark of the Supreme Lord, which is a part of the blazing fire. And it does not undergo any change. And the relationship of the body is only with the bodies. We cannot mistake the body for ourselves. So the body is perishable, limited, finite, and suffering means it is only a tool, and all the relationship with the bodies is only with the bodies. And all the relation and the bodies have qualities of sattva, rajas and tamas. Anything manifest has got the qualities of sattva, rajas and tamas. And these, the relationship with the qualities is always with the quality. So we have to realize this. The relationship of the soul is with the God, the Supreme Lord, because the soul is the spark of the divine. The relationship with the body is only with the other bodies. It cannot relate it. It's only a means of the soul. And the relationship of the qualities, sattva, rajas and tamas, is a fight, it is a battle, it is agreement, it is the communion, it is a contradiction, it is all the relationship is with only with the qualities, and the bodies exhibiting these qualities are only related, and all the emotions are also related. The emotionship or emotions are related with the emotional only. So only our bodies and minds take form as per our desires, as per our emotions, and the Atma is simply an experiencer without having any relation with this. It is the body having relation with other bodies, it is the mind having relationship with other minds, it is the qualities having relationship with other qualities, and the soul is having relationship only with the Supreme Lord. Om Achalaya Namaha. The Supreme Brahman is one unbroken consciousness, this Parame Vyoman, and encompassing the whole universe, faster than light. It is complete and all-pervading, therefore immobile. That which is everywhere has no movement. Though it appears to be immobile, it is so fast it occupies all the places at the same time. It is just like the speed of light. The moment we switch on the light spreads everywhere. It is already everywhere. It does not take even a split second. Sarva Vyapinam Atmanam Kshire Sarvapiri Avarpitam. The self which pervades the whole universe as the butter diffused within milk. Just as the butter is in the milk and it is not visible, only the milk is visible, the Supreme Lord has pervaded this whole universe and He is not visible. The Supreme Lord gives the nature of firmness and steadfastness. Achalaya Namaha. Any firmness, Ojas Tejo Dhyuti, the determination, the right determination, it all comes from the truth and righteousness. Once we know the path we have to take, we are very firm. And it is all due to the noble ideals of the devotees in the focus to the Supreme Lord. What all we have to do is simple, focus our inner vision to the Supreme Lord, to the outer consciousness. Everything will fall in its place. We should not fill our minds with the objects of this world, with the name, with the power, with the glory, with the fame, all that is perishable connected with the body. We should focus our mind, inner vision with pure consciousness, which is the home of truth, righteousness, knowledge, joy, bliss and strength. So the firmness is also the part of this realization. All the power and strength are supported by truth, love and blissful nature of the Supreme Self, the all-pervading who is everywhere, Sri Hari Narayana, who is all pervading. Om Chalaya Namaha. Om salutations to the Supreme Lord who moves everywhere. He is having Sahasraksha, Sahasrapath. He is having 1,000 feet and 1,000 heads and 1,000 eyes. That means his feet everywhere, his eyes everywhere, sees all. He sees through the birds, he sees through the aquatic, he sees through the human being, he sees through the animals, he sees through the bipeds and the quadrupeds, and he sees without the ears, he is without the eyes, he hears without the ears, and he knows all. Though he appears to be unmoving, immovable, unmoving, he moves so fast. Om Chalaya Namah. Salutation to Supreme Lord who moves. The Supreme Self is the force behind all that moves, behind the light, behind the air, behind the water. It is the energy of the Supreme Lord, which is neither created nor destroyed, that has entered into air, into water. So the energy, the supreme strength of the Lord has entered into the air and it makes it move. So also the strength, the energy, the supreme energy of the Supreme Lord has entered into fire and makes it burn. And the water moves because of it. All the planets and stars revolve because of the supreme divine energy in the ordained fashion, along their ordained path, along the path assigned to the planets and stars, they move along. And the speed of light is imparted by the Supreme Lord having entered into light. So the Supreme Lord has made all these great elements as vehicle. So air is his vehicle, water is its vehicle, fire is its vehicle, space and earth are vehicles, sun and the moon are vehicles, and they are all the fuels in which the fire of Brahman, the fire of Supreme Brahman burns and utilizes this fire, fuel and burns up the fuel. All the power and strength are supported by truth, love and blissful nature of the Supreme Lord. The ultimate outcome of all this movement is joy and bliss. Anoraniyan Hato Mahiyan. Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan Na Atmasya Janitor Anihito Guhayam Tamakrutuhu Pashyati Vitashoko Dhatur Prasadanam Mahimanam Atmanaha. The self that is subtler than the subtle and greater than the great is lodged in the heart of everyone. It is the self Atma that is staying in our body, makes us move, makes us think, makes us eat. All the movement, kampana, all the vibrations, our heartbeats, all the vibrations, all the flows that is in our body, the flow of air, flow of blood, flow of the food being digested, all these are only due to this power of Atma that has entered into our body and made it a living entity. It is the Atma that has entered everywhere that makes it move and imparts vigor and strength to all the bodies. A desireless man sees the glory of the self through the serenity of the organs, whereby he becomes free from sorrow. Once we realize it is only the play of the Supreme Lord, play of this Atma that is acting through his bodies, he is not grieved because it is the play of the Supreme Power. Tad dhavato anyat atyeti tishtat. He overflows, he overfaces, he overtakes all that move. So, though there is nothing faster than the Supreme Lord, the speed of light is also due to the speed that is important, that asino duram vrajati. Asino duram vrajati taya shayano yati sarvataha. Kastam madam devam madanyo jnatvam arhati. This is the Katha Upanishad, first chapter, second section, 21st sloka. Even if it is sitting at one place, it is moving very fast. Even though it is sleeping, it moves everywhere. And who knows this other than me? And this knower itself is the supreme power, supreme Brahman. Taddavato anyan atyeti tishtat, that overtakes all, that knows all, because even before anything is there, the Supreme Lord is the source of all the sources. He is the essence of the truth, and He is the power of the Atma, in the Jivatma. And the symbol of Atma, symbol of energy, is movement. Where there is energy, there is movement. Only a person whose strength is all gone, who has no energy, sits and sleeps. He cannot move. It's because it is all the play of the energy. We cannot blame anybody. It's all the play of energy that makes a person move and run, think and act. And that which does not move is almost dead. And the moment the body is dead, it becomes the food for all the bacteria, for the insects and for all the animals. And where there is no essence of the Supreme Lord, where there is no Jiva, where there is no Atma, it verily becomes the garbage. Where there is no energy, where there is no consciousness, it readily becomes an object, a dead object, fit to be consumed, fit to be buried or fit to be burnt. This is the law of nature. So it is only the Atma that makes it valuable, that makes it invaluable, and that makes all great and powerful. Om Amanine Namaha. Om salutations to the Supreme Lord who has no ego. Our state of misery, our state of limitation, our problem is our ego. And this ego is identification of the limited and the finite, comparing it to the infinite, and that is the ignorance. The understanding and behavior and action according to that our knowledge that we are only this body is the cause of our ahankar, is the cause of our ego, is the cause of this ignorance. This ego exists only due to ignorance. The ignorance that we are mere body, and all the action is done by the body, and this body we try to make it eternal, all make it, glorify it, is our ignorance. So this is the difference between the Rakshasas and the Devatas. There is a beautiful story already told that the Atma is one factor which makes all winning, which makes all victorious, which all makes strong, which all makes enjoyable, and which all makes immortal. This was the knowledge being imparted by the Rishi to the disciples. So the Devatas and the Rakshasas, they heard it and they wanted to beat the other by gaining this knowledge of Atma. So both of them went to Brahman, Prajapati Brahma, and asked, "Oh Prajapati Brahma, you are the creator of all of us. We want to seek the supreme knowledge." Then Brahma asked them to remain as their disciples, serving him in all respects for 35 years. So Brahma wanted to test their devotion and sincerity to know, they attain this knowledge, their ability to observe this knowledge. This is like the aptitude test. Are they capable of absorbing the higher knowledge? So both of them served under the Brahma for 35 years, and after the end of the 35 years, he said to both the Rakshasas and the Devatas that go and look yourself, adorn yourself, look yourself into the mirror or into the crystal clear sheet of water. So the Rakshasas and the Devatas adorned themselves with all their finery, with all their dresses, and looked upon their reflection. Then the Rakshasas felt very happy, felt elated, which is the exhibition of vigor and strength. And Brahma said, this is the Atma. No, this is the Atma. This is invincible. This Atma is invincible. This Atma is all powerful. And once you know this Atma, nobody can beat you, because you are the source of all, you enter everywhere. So the Rakshasas, thinking that it is referring to the body, they were satisfied and went away. But the Devatas, the gods, having returned, again having gone, realizing the teaching of the Prajapati Brahma that this body is verily the Atma, they thought there is some gap, some misunderstanding. So the Brahma has told your reflection, this body is the Atma. But this body has got a beginning, it has got an end, it is continuously undergoing changes, it falls ill, it gets damaged, it gets distorted. So anything that gets distorted, anything that has got a beginning and that has got an end. So the gods were not convinced that this is the Atma. So they returned to Prajapati Brahma and told Prajapati Brahma, O teacher, O Guru, we are not satisfied. What you have told somehow does not convince us. This body is not the Brahman. So the Brahman was very happy, pleased, and told them, you be my disciple for another 35 years. And the gods served them, can continue to attain the Atma Jnana. Whereas the Rakshasas, having realized that this body is verily the Atma, they always used to adorn and feel proud about their strength, because all the relationship of this world attainment is only with the body itself. So they adorn themselves, and even today they think this body is supreme, they are ignorant. And even when the person dies, the body is adorned in all its finery and taken in procession with all song and dance, not knowing that body has become a garbage. After the Atma left the body has become garbage and does not require any recognition, does not have any recognition, nor has got any relationship with the outer world. So this is the destruction of the ego. So the gods have no ego, whereas the Rakshasas, they have ego. They are identified with their body and their limited agents of power, name, fame, and all that. So the Supreme Self, whose form is unattached consciousness, is not identified with anything in the universe, and anything that is not identified with this body and mind, that is the Atman. Atman is not identified. Atman only uses the body and the mind as its tool. And the nature of the Atman is the same as that of the Supreme Self. The nature of Atman is vital force, prana, energy and consciousness that makes everything a living entity to see, hear, the ability to see, hear, taste, smell, touch, think, understand. So the consciousness is the faculty of seeing, faculty of knowing, and all these faculties of recognition, of cognition, emanates from the consciousness. The ego is the identification of the limited body with all that thought of glorious. It is the comparison of the body and its faculties with that of the other, because this ego exists only when the other exists. The ego is comparison. It is due to competition. It is due to ignorance. Only when there are many, only when the other is there, this ego is present, the mind is present. It is the one-upmanship that is felt by the mind, and this exhibition of the ego is due to ignorance, which is the inherent nature of the mind. So we cannot avoid it. Once our mind becomes predominant, instead of serving the soul, instead of being guided by the knowledge, it experiences this ego. It compares itself, competes itself, feels depressed, feels elated. This is the nature of the mind. The Supreme Self has no limited body nor mind, and is therefore does not have any ego, which is the feature of the mind. He is the namah. Supreme Lord has no mind. He is incomparable because he is only one. So when the knowledge dawns, when the knowledge arises, when you are not identified, too much attached with the body, too much attached with the world, and sees with a detached vision as a sakshi, when we attain this witnessing consciousness, then we become a devotee of the Supreme Lord. It is not necessary that we go and pray and do worship and all that. The mere realization that we are not the body, we are not the mind, we are that pure spirit. And when that becomes pure, we not attached to the body and the mind, not identified with the outer forms, and not running after the objects of this world, it attains that supreme consciousness. That is the yoga, that is the dhyan. And the ego automatically disappears, the mind disappears, ego disappears. With the dawn of knowledge, the ego disappears. So, our ignorance is like darkness. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. So the truth is the Atma, and the body is the ignorance. The body is the darkness. The body is the mortal. It is what it dies. So Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Let us move from body consciousness to Atma consciousness, self-consciousness, soul consciousness. And Asatoma Sadgamaya. So this body is the Asat and the Atma is the Sat. So again it means let us move from body consciousness to Atma consciousness, this soul consciousness. Asatoma Sadgamaya and Tamasuma Jyotirgamaya. So the body is the darkness. The body is made out of matter. The body is made out of earth. The body is made out of elements which have no light of their own. And Jyoti, the body, that shines in the body, that makes the body a light unto it by appear like light to others. That is the Atma. Again, the Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya is also moved from body consciousness to Atma consciousness. Om Manadaya Namaha. Om salutations to the Supreme Lord, who is the giver of ego or sense of self by the power of Maya. So it is all the creation, it is all the illusion, it is all the Maya. Whatever is happening is all his play. So just by mere knowing, we don't get transformed unless we put it into practice. And it is only by the grace of the Supreme Lord all things take place. We are transformed only by His will. We cannot do anything by ourselves because the external factors are there, and it is any of our effort without external situation, ambience being useful to us, being beneficial to us, it is swimming against the current. It is a futile effort. Unless the grace of God flows unto us, nothing is possible. And the simple thing from our side is only the devotion and surrender. That is the simple things that we can do. Realize His omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience, and realize that His energy is only in us, that He is performing both inside and outside. And this simple realization is enough for total devotion and surrender. The Supreme Self only gives true recognition to all who deserve it according to their stature and nature. So whatever is happening is as per the supreme state of supreme order. There is total rhythm and satyam, the truth and order is there. The elephant and the ant, the eagle and the shark and all the creatures get what they deserve and what they need as per their form and function. So the merit of each and every individual is precisely judged and rewarded as per the time and place, as per needs and as per desires, each according to their patra, their participation and capacity, guided by the Supreme Intelligence. So the success of an undertaking, the eminence, the victory and of any person is unclear. How the person becomes important, how he achieves the impossible, how he scales the formidable. It is all due to the favorable factors of the outer situation as far as the one's effort. So it is all the grace and the blessings of the Supreme Lord, and ultimately they are not important at all. Any success and victory in this mortal world of bodies is only makes our journey of life enjoyable and pleasurable, like a victorious team. As long as the game is enjoyable, the victory or defeat is unimportant. Anything in this world of objects, bodies, and beings are all related with the body and last only till our body lasts. So we have to take it in the right sense that all this is illusion, all this is a maya, and all this is a game, it is a lila, it is a play of energy, play of the qualities, and we are only the participants, witnessing consciousness, and we are enjoying it all through our body. And the moment we identify ourselves, we also suffer because of our identification with the body. And this suffering and this enjoyment is inevitable as long as the body is alive and taking part in the activities of this world. So it is very, very simple to say that we are away from this world. As long as we are there, we are a part of the body, our body is a part of this world, and we take active role but not attach the fruits of our attachment and fruits of our action. The merit of each and every individual is precisely judged, and as per the desires and according to the participation guided by Supreme Intelligence, the benefits accrue, ones get rewarded. That means the bodies get rewarded, the bodies either experiences or suffers. There is supreme dharma and order which are operating at all levels, at all times, and they function in appropriate conditions. So the Supreme Self gives supreme knowledge and devotion to the embodied self so that the identification, the cravings and its attachments to the perishable objects of the world are destroyed. This is the ultimate result of divine knowledge, that our attachment to the perishable things is destroyed. We have to make room in our mind. So if our mind is crowded, then our thinking becomes unclear. So because mind can think of only one thing at a time. So mind being ignorant by its very nature, it is only guided by the knowledge. And the right knowledge is very important, and this knowledge is, right knowledge is the gift of the Supreme Lord to his devotee. So the Supreme Self gives supreme knowledge and devotion to the embodied self so that its identification, cravings and attachments to this perishable world is destroyed. Because we experience the qualities of the objects that we harbor in our mind. This is the most beautiful and paradoxical creation, that whatever objects we harbor in our mind as our coveted thing, we experience that. This is the beauty of it. If we are thinking of an enemy, our body, mind functioning changes. If we are thinking of our near and dear ones, our thinking pattern changes. If we are pure, without thinking anything, our breathing, our countenance changes. Everything is as per the container, as per the content in our container. Once the self is purified of all desires, the flow of thoughts, that is the function of the mind, sees us, and we attain to the true nature, which is that of the Supreme Self, Paramatma. So we have to be very, very careful of what we want, and whatever we want brings its own problems with us. Because this is the nature of the mind. Simply it sees the outer objects, outer color, outer shape, and thinks it is beautiful, but its inherent nature, inherent qualities, the consequences of attaining that object we do not realize. So it is best to be without any desire and leave all the things to the Supreme Lord, who gives right things, right time, at right situations to our desired, to our ability and our capacity to enjoy what is gifted to us. And this methodology is what is called the blessings. So what we can really enjoy, what is required for us, and what does not affect our freedom, our joy and bliss, which we can share with others. This is the gift of life. This is called the life. Om Manadaya Namaha. He is the giver of ego. So this creation, ego is this illusion. Ego is this Maya, and the Supreme Lord, He is the giver of this mind. Because we have got the mind, we have become Manus. We have become human. So it is only the human beings who have got the mind. And this mind is what creates the world. And in other words, mind is the reflection of the happenings of the world. So what goes on outside goes on inside. And it is the mind that creates illusion. It is the mind that is the servant of the ego. And ego is due to ignorance, and this ignorance is the identification of the self, of the Atma with the limited body and the mind. And this ignorance leads to all the miseries of life. There are innumerable bodies, and the fight it becomes a battlefield. So only when there is two, there is competition, there is comparison, there is difference, and only when there is one, the Atma Ekaha, the only because the Atma is one. When we focus ourselves onto our Atma, we are in peace. Om Manyaya Namah, Om salutation to the Supreme Lord who is the most adorable. Manyata, adorable. It is the only that is to be recognized. Nothing else is worth recognition. We can't recognize anybody as great forever, as suitable forever. Every person has got a role to play at its time, and that is suitable. To hold a person right and valid for all times is just ignorance and foolishness. Gandhi was valid for his times. Hitler was valid for his times. Now, the great personalities that grew up at that time, they were valid at that times. Einstein was valid for his times. Now the science also has moved forward. Archimedes was valid for his times. So everybody is to consider one person valid for all time is this foolishness. So we cannot consider anybody, any human being with a limited body, with a limit, having birth and death as recognizable forever. Whereas the Supreme Lord is the only one who is to be recognized at all times because his nature of energy, consciousness, joy, bliss, strength, who is the giver of joy, who is the giver of strength, who is the giver of all the things that are good and beautiful, they are valid forever, they are permanent. So it is only the Supreme Lord to whom we have to offer our salutations. The Supreme Self is the God of all gods and is the source of all gods. He is the most adorable. No one wants to worship a lesser God, and nothing stops anyone to go to the highest God. He is always approachable. It is just like looking at the sun, looking at the sky. Rucho Akshare Parmeyoman Yasmin Devadi Vishve Shedhu. It is just like looking at the sky. The Parmeyoman is the Supreme Consciousness. Our consciousness is approachable to all. Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suryaha. Just as the sages look at this, just as the people look at this, look up and see the sun, because looking up the sun is not difficult. You just look up and we see the sun. So also the sages experience the state of Vishnu, the Supreme Consciousness. Because our mind is filled with all garbage, with objects, bodies, beings, our emotions, our likes, dislikes, our anger, our hatred, our love. Because all these things we are filled up in our mind, we are not able to experience that Parameyoman, this pure consciousness. When our mind is free of all this, when it becomes pure, we become Maharshis. We are the sages, we are the Maharshis, they are not different. Only thing is their mind is empty and our mind is filled with garbage. That's all the difference. And Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sa Pashyanti Surya Diviva Chakshuratatam. So just as we open our eyes and see the light, the sages experience that supreme state of Sri Vishnu, the Supreme Consciousness. He is the most adorable. No one wants to worship a lesser God. The highest God is the Supreme Being, the all-pervading Supreme Spirit, Sri Narayana, the Paramatman, the Parabrahman, and that is Tat, that is that. Whom else do we adore other than the Supreme Self, other than Sri Narayana, who is the giver of life, prana, who is our own soul, who gives us food, who gives us joy, who gives us strength, who is the fulfiller of all our desires, who cures our diseases, who protects us from all the wicked and the evil, who is our best friend, who is always with us. He is the father, mother, brother, the protector and the provider. He is only to be recognized. He only to be honored. He is to be worshipped, prayed, and He only to whom we can offer our love and prayer, and to whom He only to whom we can surrender totally and rest in peace. He is the only Manyaya Namaha. And because of this total surrender and devotion, we attain all the consequent qualities. And this devotion to the Supreme Lord and surrender makes the person recognized, fit to be honored and to be considered a great person, a sage, a saint. And because of this devotion and surrender, we attain knowledge. And because of this knowledge, we attain the dispassion. And because of this dispassion, we lose our Arishad Vargas. We do not expect anything from anybody. And this not expecting anything from anybody, that makes us to take the path of truth, that is the sannyas. And this sannyas, not expecting anything from anybody, anything from the world, and being not attached to anything perishable, that is the mukti, that is the moksha, that is the liberation. Om Lokaswami Namaha. Lokaswami is again the Supreme Lord, who is the Master and Lord of this universe. He is the Amani Namaha, He is the Manadani Namaha, He is the Manyaya Namaha, and He is the Supreme Lord. He is the Lord of all the 14 worlds. He is the one who has created all the great elements, air, water, fire, earth, that which are the building blocks of life. He is the one who has created the moon and the sun. They reflect, the giver of energy, the reflector of energy. He is the one who has created the earth, filled it with all types of living elements, with all the energy materials, and pervaded everywhere. And this is the wonder of wonders. And all is pervaded by the Supreme Lord in this form of energy and consciousness. Though for the mind, which can only, the capacity and limited of our mind is that it can only think of the objects. Because mind is also matter, it is pulled down to the earth. So we are able to think only of the earthen things, of the things limited and finite in nature. Our mind cannot think of the energy. Our mind cannot move up, it cannot think of light. Our mind is always thinks of names and forms. And names and forms are finite and limited. This is the limitation of our mind. And this earth element gives the reality to the desires of the embodied soul. Because all our desires are only in our images, and we start running after images to make it a reality. And the fulfillment of the desire is that our images in the form of desire attaining the third dimension of earth, which we can touch, which we can hear, which we can see, which we can taste, smell. This is the which we can hold in our hands. This is the reality. So we have to understand, listen very, very carefully. This is the pure knowledge part, we have to listen very carefully, think of it and understand. Earth is the factor that gives reality to our images and desires. Initially, our mind itself is desire, and it can think only in terms of images. Our desires are images. And the mind runs after things to attain, to make it a reality, because all our desires are separated by time element, by the space element, full of obstructions. And our desire becoming a reality means our desire attaining this earth element, the third dimension of the desired object being having three dimension, having earth content itself, which we can hold. So this is the realization of the desire, means our desire attaining the third dimension. So this is the purpose of taking for the soul, embodied soul, coming down to earth with the help of the mind. So the mind always thinks of names and forms and the objects. It cannot think of anything else. Mind is also matter, and it is pulled down to the earth, and the Supreme Lord has created this illusion due to causing the gravity. The gravity means all matter being drawn down to the earth. So our Atma, filled with the desire for the things of this world, is also pulled down. It comes down, creates its own body, it enters into the body and again takes its journey. This is the most beautiful part of the creation of the illusion of the Supreme Lord. He is the Ghrutaashishe namah. And only by the grace of the Supreme Lord we can overcome this illusion or delusion. Om Triloka Dhrute namah. So Om salutations to the Supreme Lord who supports all the three worlds. The world of human beings, the world of names, and the world of gods are all supported by the Supreme Self. The world of human beings. So, and the world of the divine forces, the mains, the Gandharvas. The world of the gods. Gods are the divine forces which are running this universe. There is a lot of confusion in the minds of the people. Why Hindus worship so many gods? There is only one God. This very meaning of the gods is mistaken for Atma. Atma is one. That is the God of gods. Because all gods means they are all the devatas, they are the divine forces presiding over the various powers, the divine forces. Now air is God, Vayu Devata, water is God, Jal Devata, Agni Devata, fire is God, Surya Devata, sun is God, Indra Devata, the Parjanya Devata, Rudra Devata, Vishnu Devata, all these are gods who preside over the divine forces. Then there are the gods, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, there is Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, the goddess of name, the goddess of fame, the goddess of strength, the Kali, the goddess of peace. All these are gods, innumerable gods, which our desires, our fulfillments, our object of our attainments, they all satisfied, they are all personified by these gods. But the God of all these gods, the power source from where the energy, from where the consciousness, where the power of blessing the devotees flows is the Atma, is the Paramatma, is the Sri Hari Narayana. He is the God of gods. He is the Supreme Godhead, from where is the power and knowledge, everything flows unto the gods and make them enable to satisfy the desire of the devotees. So the world of human beings, the world of males and the world of gods are all supported by the Supreme Self, Paramatma. Then the world of plants, the world of animals and the world of human beings. This is another segment. They are all supported by the Supreme Brahman. And the state of the deep sleep, dream state and the wakeful state. These are all three states are supported by the state of Supreme Consciousness, the nature of the Supreme Self. That is the Turiya, the fourth state of consciousness that is ever awake, that experiences, that sees the dream state, witnesses the dream state, that witnesses the waking state, and that only witnesses the dream, waking and sleep. The three worlds of earth, speech, mind and heaven, the vital force, is supported by the Atma, by the Supreme Brahman. It is only the Supreme Self who knows the part and the past and the present and the future. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhve Namaha. The Supreme Lord is the master of time, past, present and the future. And He is the one who has created air, earth, atmosphere and the outer space, Bhuva Swaha. So He, the Triloka Dhutyanama, He, the Supreme Lord, supports. He is created and He is supporting all these three worlds of human beings, the gods, the mains, and then the earth and the outer space and the space, and the waking state and the dream state, and all these different three states, they all get classified. The Supreme Lord pervades and transcends this whole universe and extends them by the width of the 10 fingers. This is what is declared in the Purusha Sukta of the Rig Veda. So this Purusha Sukta is declared, appears in all the four Vedas. They are repeated in the four Vedas. Sastra Shirsha, Purusha, Sasraksha, Sasrapat, Sabhumim, Vishwato Utvat, Atyatishtat Dashangulam. By the width of 10 fingers, the Supreme Lord has exceeded all His creation. He has created a distance from Him and His creation by a width of just 10 fingers. So He is always looking at everything has come under His vision and supervision. Atatrayo vavalokaha, manushya-lokaha, pitrulokaha, devaloka iti. So I am manushya-lokam putrena iva jayah nanyena karmana. Karmana pitruloka vidyaya devaloka devaloko vai lokanam shrishtaha tasmad vidyam prashansamti. This is what is declared in the Ghrutaashishe Upanishad, first chapter, 5th section, 16th shloka. There are three worlds. One is the human world, one is the ancestor world, Pitruloka, and another is the Devaloka, because the world of gods. And people win over this world of human beings by getting progeny, by they extend. The human beings win this world by getting their progeny, by getting their children, so that the name, fame, wealth, prosperity, whatever a person has earned is continued by his progeny, by his generation. So the world of the means the world of his ancestors are won over by holy and auspicious deeds. So the people remember, so and so my father did this, my father, grandfather did this. So they win recognition by the virtue of the holy and auspicious deed done by the ancestors. And the world of the divine, the world of the gods is attained only by the divine knowledge, not by anything else. We cannot know the powers of the Supreme Lord, we cannot know the various forms and aspects of the Supreme Lord just by knowing the people or by doing any work. And the best of all these is the Devaloka, the world of gods. And because the supreme divine knowledge is attained only by attaining this Devaloka. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha, this is the Vyahruti, they are the three realms of these three worlds. Vishnu Ritta Paramamasya Vidwan Jato Bruhannabi Pati Shruti Trutiyam Asa Yadasya Payo Akritam Swam Chachetaso Abhyarchanti Artha. This is the Ved Mantra 10th Mandala 1st Sukta 3rd Mantra. Ghrutaashishe Rishi, the sage, prays to the Agni Deva, the Supreme Lord in the form of Agni. Because the Supreme Lord has entered into all these great elements, air, water, fire, earth, space, sun, all this. He only has appeared in various forms. And the Ghrutaashishe Rishi prays to in the Trishtup Chandas, the Supreme Lord who is all-pervading, who is possessing all the knowledge, who is omnipresent and who is omniscient and who is the Supreme, and He protects his third state. And this third state of Agni is in this earth. So the Supreme Lord is protecting this earth, and He also protects this earth by being in the sun, and this protecting form is the sun, Aditya Rupa. And the sun, the earth is supported by the sun. But for the sun, the earth will die. All the beings in the earth will die because earth is a dark mass and does not have its own energy. And earth gets all its life and all its light from sun. And the Supreme Lord is the Lord of this sun and the earth and the space. And this third state is also the supreme state, the supreme consciousness of Sri Vishnu. And all these forms are on the form of Agni, the divine energy. Everything, all the movements, all the expressions, all the life are only due to energy, which is verily the form of the Supreme Lord. This is the beautiful mantra meaning of this of the meaning and explanation of this mantra. So all this world is the expression of the supreme divine energy, Vishnu. Vishnu Ritta Paramamasya Vidwan Jato Bruhanna Vipati Trutiyam. He protects his third state. First state is the body, second state is the mind, third state is the soul. So the soul protects the mind and body. This is at the micro level. So also at the various other levels. Yadasya asayasya paya krutam swamcha sachetaso abhyarchantyartha. So all these are supported by the Supreme Lord, and He is the Triloka Dhrute Namaha. He is supporting the whole universe. He is supporting the whole universe, consisting of three different forms. He is also supporter of Bhu, Bhuva, earth, sky, and the outer space. Atatrayo. There are only three worlds: the world of men, the world of mains, and the world of gods. The world of men is attainable only through a son or the daughter. They say through a son because the world of mains through rites, and the world of gods through the knowledge meditation. The world of gods is indeed the best of the worlds. Therefore they prize knowledge. Though the creation of son and daughter, they are all same in every respect, the progeny continues by the son, and the son becomes the rightful heir of his father. So the world of men are won by the generations continuity, and this world of the continuation of generity happens by the son, though in all respects the son and the daughter are all the two halves of the Supreme Lord who has created. The Supreme Lord himself has become the male and the female, and is also the support for the Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Sumedasya Namaha. We will take up in the next session. Hari Om Tat Sat.